Chapter 23, Hurley Mump. Boom flew out his front door like the wind, a crazed wind that kicked up dirt and terrified neighborhood cats and made a howling sound that sounded something like, "I'm going to kill you, Hurley Mump!" He leapt over the broken gate, snaked around Dr. Bunkle, and narrowly avoided what would have been a painful slip on a banana peel. A family of squirrels chirped at him, their cheeks fat with banana meat. A dog, chewing on a salty corn cob, growled as Boom jumped over its tail. He almost bumped into a delivery guy who was unloading boxes labeled cream-filled cupcakes and finger sandwiches. Another wish! Hurley ran up the Mumps' driveway. Those galactic kickers gave Hurley a major advantage, what with their arch support and spring-loaded soles. Hurley! Hurley moved once again to the number one position on Boom's enemy list. Hurley picked up speed, rounding the corner of his house into his backyard. Boom ran past the Mumps' vanilla white picket fence and across their artificial turf. He had never been in the Mumps' yard before. All those years of living across the street, and the Mumps had never said, "Hey, come on over for some popcorn," or "Hey, we just inflated the pool, so come on over for a dip." Boom turned the corner and stood in the Mumps' backyard. It was neat and tidy, with a stand of shiny yard tools and a row of perfectly coiled garden hoses. Two ceramic gnomes sat beneath a blue bird bath. But no thieving, blonde-haired boy could be seen. Where had he gone? Darn it! Hurley Mump was going to ruin everything as usual. Once Hurley realized that he had stolen the most amazing discovery of the 21st century, which would be any minute now, he'd tell the world. He'd sell the Merbaby and make a fortune. He wouldn't care that Myrtle loved the baby or that the baby loved her. He wouldn't care that in a few days the bill collector would be back at the Broom's house, and once again Hurley would get all the glory. Boom was about to open the garage door when a shriek filled the air. At first he thought it was the Merbaby's shriek because it almost burst his eardrums, but the shriek didn't have the same blood-chilling effect. It didn't feel like a knife thrusting through Boom's skull. Boom looked across the yard to the garden shed, from which another shriek issued forth. He opened the shed door to find Hurley Mump holding out a bleeding hand. "It bit me!" he cried, tears pooling around the ridges of his beady eyes. The baby lay in a wheelbarrow, hissing and growling and spewing foam like a rabid dog. Hurley backed up against the potting bench, shaking. Boom knew just how he felt. When in viper mode, that baby could scare the fangs off a vampire. "That's no doll," Hurley stuttered. "Brilliant observation. What is it?" Boom slowly edged his way toward his archenemy, careful not to make any sudden movements. The baby continued to hiss. No way was he going to tell Hurley the truth. "It's an alien from outer space. It's evil, that's what it is, and it eats human flesh." Hurley gasped. "What are you keeping an alien in your bedroom?" "Why are you keeping an alien in your bedroom?" The baby raised herself up on her tail, but Boom couldn't tell which one of them she was going to spit at. "It used mind control on me," Boom said, "and if you tell anyone about the alien, then it will control your mind as well." That didn't sound threatening enough. "If you tell anyone, it will suck out your brain." Hurley would understand brain sucking because all the boys in their class had once sneaked into the Fairweather movie theater to watch an old black and white movie about some aliens that sucked out people's brains. "Get it out of here!" Hurley climbed over a pile of clay pots in an attempt to get away. "Baby," Boom cooed, holding out his arms. The Merbaby eyed him suspiciously, her upper lip vibrating in a snarl. "I'm going to take you back to Myrtle. To Myrtle." That seemed to do the trick. The baby lowered herself and closed her mouth. When Boom took a step forward, she growled a little. "To Myrtle," he said again. "Myrtle." With all the courage he could muster in the world, more courage than facing Principal Prune Wallet, more courage than his first loop-the-loop roller coaster, more courage than that first step taken beyond the dirt circle, he slid his hands under the baby's tail and scooped her up in his arms. They looked at each other, the baby all squinty and rigid, Boom sweating like a nervous snake wrangler. "To Myrtle," he said again. "Hey," Hurley said from the corner of the shed, "now that I think about it, that thing looks kind of like a—" "Do you have any idea how painful it is to have your brain sucked?" Boom asked. "Tell no one." He thrust the baby toward Hurley. Right on cue, she bared her razor-sharp teeth. Smart little thing. Boom ran from the shed, but he had to hide behind the Mumps' garbage cans because Daisy and her cohorts were crossing the street, stuffing their faces with cream-filled cupcakes and finger sandwiches. The wind rattled the cans, so he couldn't hear what they were saying until they passed by. I couldn't believe it when Myrtle the turtle's scarf fell off, Daisy said. Did you see how horrid her hair looked? They can't afford good shampoo. The girls giggled. And why was her dad sitting in the closet? So weird. Even his old sneakers that had neither arch support nor space-age traction, Boom managed to get back to his walkway before anyone noticed the creature tucked in his arms. Mr. Mump backed his truck next to the delivery van, almost running a few neighbors over in his attempt to claim all the delicious loot. Winger ran down the sidewalk in his Sunday suit. "What are you going to do with that thing out here?" he asked. "Are you psychotic?" "I'll explain later," Boom said. "Just help me sneak it back upstairs so Halvor doesn't see it." Winger held the ladder as Boom struggled up, one-handed. The baby growled a few more times, but clung tightly to Boom's shirt. "I don't suppose you care that I saved your life again," Boom grumbled as he climbed. "I don't suppose saving your life for a second time means anything to you." Just a few more rungs and they'd be at the bedroom window. "Why do you grant all her stupid wishes when you could grant the one wish that matters the most? Why don't you make the fungus go away?" The baby looked over Boom's shoulder and whimpered as they climbed together. As soon as they reached the windowsill, the baby leapt from Boom's arms and landed on the pink comforter. Boom tumbled over the windowsill and fell onto the carpet with Winger close behind. "Hello, boys," Halvor said. Boom and Winger looked up from the carpet to find Halvor holding Myrtle's turban. Myrtle sat in all her fuzzy glory on the edge of her bed crying. "Somebody had better tell me what's going on around here, for sure." End of chapter 23.